I'm saying to Nigerians, as an entrepreneur, you are not excluded from the democratic process.
Absolutely.
Beyond participating directly, you can fund CSOs that are working to ensure the longevity, the sustainability of your entrepreneur endeavor.
Hello there and welcome to Youthacy, brought to you by ReadyToTalk TV and Podcast. My name is Ifunanya Unduka and I am your host. On this show, we empower young people to become effective community organizers, democratic mobilizers, and productive change agents. Today on the show, I have a young leader who has done so much with respect to empowering young people, mobilizing communities, and driving change in not just his community, but the nation Nigeria as a whole. I'll let him do the honors of introducing himself, and then, of course, we'll carry on conversations from there. So, Mr. God Bless, please tell us about you and, let us meet you, basically.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is God Bless Otubore. I'm the global president at Ready to Lead Africa. It's exciting to be here at the Ready to Talk podcast and TV, studio, and also to be invited to speak about Youthacy and some of the conversations that that you'll be having today. So thank you for having me. I'm also a White House youth ambassador for the Summit for Democracy. A member of the Youth Democracy Cohort, and also sit on the Global Advisory Board of the Presidential Precinct in the United States. Finally, I'm also a Mandela Washington Fellow.
Great. Look at who we have here. Thank you so much, Mr. God Bless Otubore, for being in the studio this afternoon. So today, we are going to be discussing entrepreneurship and democracy. We have learned that there's a fine line between entrepreneurship and democracy as it relates to young people. So my first question will be to define entrepreneurship and how it can foster democracy building in young people.
Well, for me, it's always been the conversation that I feel has not been had. The interconnectedness of democracy and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the creative use of resources to maximize profit, to create jobs and opportunities for people, maximize resources. That's entrepreneurship. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And both democracy and entrepreneurship cannot exist independent of each other, right? Those concepts.
Yeah.
But when you look at the way we have approached democracy and entrepreneurship in Nigeria, it's as though there is no interconnectedness. It's as though one is white, one is black. You see people who are in the democratic space, who are maybe in the political arena, bereft of any idea of entrepreneurship. Vice versa, you have people that are in the entrepreneurship space who have no interest in the democratic space.
Yes.
So, and for me, there has never been any other absurdity than just experiencing that and observing that in Nigeria. So for me, when I got the invitation to speak on this and say, oh, we're talking about democracy and entrepreneurship, I was excited. I'm like, finally, people are listening. People can see, because entrepreneurship can only survive generationally in a democratic setting. And the reason is simply because any other system of government cannot guarantee the success of entrepreneurship in an intergenerational way. Because you may succeed in a communist environment, and one day the communist government can choose to close whatever you're doing.
Right.
Because you don't have rights, you don't have choice. The state monopolizes everything. But where you have democracy, entrepreneurship is guaranteed, because again you have the way in which society sort of distributes resources so that people can lay claim to properties that they own, they can produce, they can give taxes back to the community, to the society rather, and rather to the state, and then you just have that interplay. So for me, it is a fantastic conversation. I look forward to discussing more about it.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Thank you so much for that. So research shows that about 67% of entrepreneurs in Nigeria are young people. So there is a lot of room for young people to drive change when it comes to democracy, young people who are already doing things for themselves. So I'd like to ask, I know you kind of touched on it while answering the first question, but I'd like you to go deeper into it. How can young entrepreneurs participate in democratic engagement and civic engagement as well?
So for me, the first thing is the design of the business. I've seen a lot of young entrepreneurs who are doing tech, businesses right now. They're doing manufacturing. They're doing amazing work in health, in agriculture, in power. A lot of young people are now into solar energy and producing all of this amazing technologies.
Amazing.
You see a lot of entrepreneurs who are maybe in fashion, even the social media. People call themselves influencers now, and people creating content, right? How can these people who are maximizing resources, how can they participate in the democratic process? For me, I'll say to them, the first thing you need to do is your business design. As you design your business, you need to understand that there is a part of your business profit that must be committed to democratic engagement. So what it means is, you may not necessarily be supporting a political party, right? But you will be funding democratic norms building, democratic culture building. That is what young entrepreneurs must do. So your company is not giving money to political parties for people to run for elections and all that, but you're identifying CSOs that are working in civic engagement, accountability purposes, and all of that. That way, your company becomes part of the process of sustaining democracy. When companies do that, they say that people always, your heart is where your money is. Put your mouth where your money is.
Yes, put your mouth where your money is.
Because if you are saying, the policies of government, you don't like it, you've got to be involved in the process.
True.
If you are funding civil society organizations who are improving citizens' awareness of their rights, who are organizing projects that help citizens to understand that the state is answerable to the people, what then happens is that a government cannot wake up one morning, cook up a policy that takes you out of business.
Right.
But if all you think about as a young entrepreneur is just to make profit and buy cars and buy houses and live good, your business is also not safe, because you are not helping to build the democratic process. You're not helping to do the work that makes sure that your business is even safe. So beyond just directly getting involved, put your monies where your mouth is.
I love that. Absolutely. Put your money where your mouth is. Thank you so much for that. God bless. So, like you mentioned, you said CSOs, CBOs, it is important for entrepreneurs to fund whatever they are doing or certain things they're doing as it impacts democratic building. So I'd like to ask, are there particular young entrepreneurs that are making such strides in their community or maybe in the society as a whole? Can you highlight any of them so that, of course, we can also learn from them as well?
I mean, right now, I cannot necessarily say because I don't have their books. I don't know what they've been investing in. But what I can tell you is that working in the CSO space for a bit now, we haven't really seen that level of support coming from, young entrepreneurs. The only one I can tell you that I remember, because he was really active in the early days of our work, is who is no longer the CEO, but I think is the chairman of God is Good Motors, right?
Okay.
Chidi Ajere, fantastic guy. He understands the importance of democratic culture and the sustainability of businesses, and he supported Ready to Lead Africa in the past for us to be able to do a lot of work in advancing electoral reforms, civic engagement. And for me, I was really thrilled that there is a young entrepreneur, right, in Nigeria who understands the beauty of that. And he's held a lot of conversations around inter-ethnic collaboration, especially when it comes to the different tribes in Nigeria. And so for me, he's just one example that I can tell you that you can spotlight. You guys can reach out to him, talk to him. He's big on democratic culture building, responsive state to citizens, also responsive citizens' behavior towards the state. So for me, that's one person I can say. But of course, there are hundreds and thousands of young people who are churning out a profit. Of course, we have a different economy today.
True.
That's true. Companies are struggling. There's to cope, fuel subsidy removal, the cost of fuel, the cost of electricity, the cost of things, inflation is affecting, a lot of profit. But of course, you still have a lot of businesses that are also doing well. But what I'm simply saying is that I'm calling on entrepreneurs across the country. If you are turning in a profit of more than 100 million a year, 100 million naira a year, 50 million naira a year. If you're turning in profit in the excess of, after paying your salary, your staff salary for the year, doing a lot of things, running around and operational costs, and you still have a profit of, let's say, 30, 40, 50 million, it's not a lot, right? That's just around, say, maybe around $40,000 to $45,000 today. But what that tells you is that you're able to make a contribution of between 100 to 500,000 to CSOs. You don't have to give one CSO that money. You can just say, okay, you're picking CSOs from the 3 geopolitical zones, or maybe even in your community where you operate, and say, you know what, I want to fund a voter education.
That even leads me to my next question.
Great.
Education. So education is a very important UN SDG, right? And it's also very personally important to me. I think education is the core of a lot of solutions in this country and even in Africa at large. So do you think, or rather, how can educational systems better prepare young people to be great entrepreneurs and also active participators in democratic societies?
All right. Ifuna, thank you so much for that question. I think it's one of the most important questions. The role of education in preparing our citizens to become great entrepreneurs and active participants in the democratic process. You could never have asked the question better. Every society, Thomas Jefferson said, show me a society that wants to be free but is not educated. It has never been and never will be. So what it means is, for any society to have great entrepreneurs, you've got to invest in quality education for your citizens. Quality education is the buildings where the people go to for school, the surroundings, the curriculum, those who teach it, how they are graded, and all of that, right?
Yes.
And the practicality of the ideologies, such that people don't just go to school to la read, la cram, la pour, la forget. That people are actually going to school to engage in conversations about what the problems are and the possible solutions that they can present. Citizens, societies can raise great entrepreneurs by focusing on quality education. That quality education must come with a full package of liberal arts education, which empowers young people and citizens to know their rights, to demand for their rights, to hate shortcuts, right? To follow order, to ensure that no matter whose ox is God, that the law is applied. When you do that, you will raise people who are economically active, civically active. Not the other way that we have it now. We have a lot of young people who are economically passive, but somewhat civically active, right? But that creates a disequilibrium. That is why people sell their votes. So schools and education, which is beyond school, schooling, can also help in empowering young people to become really great entrepreneurs and active and productive change agents. Schools, or maybe education that also focuses on R&D, research and development, that focuses on economic ideas, economic theories and principles. If we put this here and put this here and put this here, what results will it give us, right? Education that focuses on case studies, right? Case studies, not just assignments. Case studies where we debate, we look at things. Okay,
Yes.
you give us, hypothetical case studies and say, okay, you are a team of experts. You've been called to improve the revenue of XYZ company. What will you do? What? That's what students should be taught. That's how students should be taught in school. That is how education can improve the quality of graduates that are coming out of university.
True.
So
True.
that way, when they come out and they are presented with real life tasks, they are not, looking and saying, I've never seen this, what does this mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, I think that the interconnectedness of democracy and education and entrepreneurship, you can never finish that conversation. I mean, I would have loved to go on and talk about it because,
Yes.
of course, there are steps, guides, there are strategies, on how to
structures and
really,
systems.
structures and how to make that work. But at the end of the day, I'm saying to Nigerians, as an entrepreneur, you are not excluded from the democratic process.
Absolutely.
Beyond participating directly, you can fund CSOs that are working to ensure the longevity, the sustainability of your entrepreneurial endeavor, which is your company. So for me, I think that's the relationship.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh, thank you so much. God
Thank you.
bless. Thank you so much. I have absolutely enjoyed conversing with you.
Thank
And I'm
you.
sure that our viewers as well have enjoyed learning from you.
Thank
So
you so much.
finally, I would like you to close out on telling our viewers who are, very likely entrepreneurs already, how to get into the democratic space, because some of them may be wondering now and they just need like 1-2 steps to get in, who they need to talk to, what exactly they need to do, and maybe they don't even have as much funding, as it is right now. So I want you to just close out with that.
For me, I'll say to them, I'm looking at all of you, entrepreneurs in Nigeria, young people. It's our time. Look at the name of the show is Youthacy. It's about young people, and we are at the exit stage of being youth, and we will never be youth all the days of our lives. But we can remain youthful in our disposition, in our commitment, and in our actions. When you go to Western countries, you see companies that are funding democratic civic works. That way, when policies are being drawn in the halls of Congress and Parliament, their interests are being looked after. When you hear the word special interest, big pharma, all of that, it's because they are funding both CSOs, parliamentarians, congressmen, and all of that. Is it the best? I'll tell you, well, look, if you exclude your business and you exclude yourself from the democratic process, trust me, the system can override everything you've ever built with just one wrong policy. You want to get involved? Find CSOs, genuine CSOs. They are spread across Nigeria, spread across Africa. They will begin to champion some of the causes that matter. Not negative causes, but causes that promote the well-being of society, that empowers young people to become productive change agents, that empower us to become climate justice advocates, that empowers us to become responsible citizens who are having conversations that not only promote our interests, but promote the collective good of society. You can get involved by simply identifying CSOs that you can commit to and fund, because where your mouth is, your money must be there also.
Absolutely. Put your money where your mouth is. Thank you so much, God bless Otubere, for gracing our studio today. And thank you for sharing very incredible, timeless insights with our audience. I'm sure that you all enjoyed listening to God bless Otubere, because I personally learned a lot from him. And I am happy that he was able to dissect this topic in the way only him can. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here with us. My name remains Ifunanya Unduka. Bye for now.